Alright, I got a little tip for y'all today. This customer brought us this Jeep JK to fix a popping noise coming from the front axle. He said the air locker was slipping under a heavy load. But before we start tearing into this front differential to inspect the air locker, we want to try to duplicate the customer's concern to verify that the air locker itself is slipping and not the manual locking hubs. So to do this, the first thing we want to do is lock in both wheel hubs. And now we want to engage the front air locker. Now you want to drive the vehicle until both locking hubs and the air locker engage. You know this has happened when you have the wheel turned hard over in two-wheel drive on loose terrain and you start to move. You're going to see the tire and hear it slip. Or you can just simply jack up one side of the front axle, making sure one tire stays in contact with the ground. If the tire raised off the ground does not rotate, this confirms that both hubs and the air locker are engaged, so long as the transfer case is in two-wheel drive or the transmission is in neutral. Now that we have confirmed both hubs and the air locker are engaged, we want to make some marks on both axle shafts and both wheels. Just make sure all four marks line up as they do here. Now just take the vehicle for a spin around the pasture. You want the steering wheel turned hard over. This is really going to put the front axle under a heavy load. And no, you don't need four-wheel drive for this. This front axle is already loaded like crazy due to the locker. Alright, we're back from the test drive. Here you can see the mark we placed on the passenger side axle shaft is still lined up with the mark on the wheel. This means this locking hub assembly is working properly. Now let's compare the mark on this axle shaft to the mark on the other axle shaft. This mark is much higher, which means the air locker has slipped. But also, notice how the mark on the axle shaft is also not aligned with the mark on the wheel. This means that this mechanical locking hub assembly has also slipped, so we have two different failures in this axle.